President Cyril Ramaphosa will not be stepping down, we're told, after the upcoming G20 Leaders Summit in Johannesburg. At least that's according to a special envoy on strategic relations, Dr. Bejani Chauke. There have been reports, apparently, that Ramaphosa intends to step down following the summit in late November. Chauke issuing a post today, or putting up a post on social media today, saying the reports are disturbing and devoid of truth. Let's try to make sense of where things stand now. Bring in SABC News politics reporter Samkele Maseko with me here on set. Samkele, so let's start with these rumors. What exactly do the rumors say? Where do they come from? And why are they being spread?
The rumors emanate from the structures of the African National Congress, certain leaders of the ANC who may be planning for life post the presidency of Cyril Ramaphosa. As you know, that when the ANC goes to its midterm review of an elected leadership, particularly noting that this leadership was elected in 2022, at the Johannesburg Expo Center, they are going to their midterm review now in December from the 8th to the 13th or the 12th of December at the Johannesburg Expo Center, the National General Council of the African National Congress. That is where most likely the scales may be tipped on who is likely to succeed ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa come the 2027 conference of the African National Congress. I do know that in the various discussions that have taken place, there have many who have said that if Cyril Ramaphosa were to leave now, before the ANC's national conference, it will put the ANC into abyss, would liken it to an implosion within the governing party, which would be an open fanfare of contestation between Paul Mashatile, Fikile Mbalula, the next of Patrice Motsepe as well, who've been branded about.
Nomvula Mokonyani's name had also come up.
There are many others. It's a plethora of leaders of the African National Congress who see themselves through the eye of the needle as being contenders of being elected ANC president, yet many of them have a shroud of skeletons that they've got to answer to. But essentially, it is an issue that is being debated in the corners on who will succeed ANC President Ramaphosa. But at this point in time, it does not look like he is going to leave office before the 2027 conference. But beyond 2027, 2028, January, February, the State of the Nation address may be delivered by someone else, but that is not only now dependent on the ANC, it also depends on other GNU partners.
So that's in about 2 to 3 years, and perhaps, as you're saying, the fact that there's now a GNU, a government of national unity, might complicate what we've seen as the choreography of the ANC, where presidents leave soon after someone else is elected, at the conference. But let's talk about why the NGC in December then would be the battleground, because it's not an elective conference, but you're suggesting that that's where the battle then to lead will begin to take shape.
If you remember correctly, the ANC's NGC in 2015, I remember there were videos at the time in my previous life in another company. I was working with Thulasizwe Simelane, and I had been given videos of delegates singing Mantashe, Kaukulume no Zuma Adetelo Ramaphosa to lead. Mantashe, can you speak to Zuma to let Ramaphosa to lead? That is where a campaign of a successor is unveiled by those who support that particular leader. That leader may not come out at that particular point in time of the National General Council, because if you look at Cyril Ramaphosa's timing for the ANC presidency in 2017, he addressed a SACP cadres forum in Uitenhage in the Eastern Cape in PE, where it was about 4 months before the elective conference. I remember where they said Cyril Ramaphosa finally has what it takes to take on Jacob Zuma, and comes out guns blazing at that particular time. So timing and time and space of where you actually unveil that you are actually contending for that particular position becomes very important in the African National Congress. And in many instances, if you come out and say, I, Samkele Maseko, I, Thembekile Mkhototo, am available to lead, that's when delegates tend to shun you. You look at Dr. Zwelini Mkhize, for example.
So it's a timing issue.
It's a timing issue, but it's also the issue of ANC lexicon that must come out of you when you speak. You look at a Patrice Motsepe, for an example. When he says he's not available, that is when many ANC delegates may have the appetite to say, actually, this guy is the one who can take the ANC forward. He's not hungry for this particular position. He does not want to use it for his own wealth accumulation. He's not a traditional politician. And that is when delegates will ultimately be drawn closer to him, because he does not espouse or show that hunger, that eagerness to occupy public office for his own good and he waits for the ANC to say, well, there's no one else. The ANC has persuaded me to take this particular position. But at this point in time, going back to Cyril Ramaphosa, it does not look like he wants to leave anytime soon, but he is definitely at the departure lounge. He is at the departure lounge because he is in his second term as president of the ANC, second term as president of the country. He may not want to cause commotion, as we've seen with Jacob Zuma, with Thabo Mbeki, and other ANC former presidents.
Very briefly, if we're going to take Bejani Chauke's word as gospel that Ramaphosa is staying as leader of the ANC in the country post the G20 conference, why has he felt it necessary right now to issue this statement today saying Ramaphosa is staying?
President Ramaphosa doesn't have a political advisor. That's what many people don't realize. The president doesn't have a political advisor at this point in time. Bejani Chauke he resigned from that particular position. He went on to be a special envoy of the president on economic issues and on African affairs. Jomo Sibiya, he went on to public office to become a member of parliament, to become a deputy minister of labor within the country. So there is a vacuum when it comes to the issue of who politically advises President Ramaphosa. And that may be the reason why Dr. Bejani Chauke may have taken this onus to speak on this particular issue of the president, and also noting ANC political machinations. People at this point in time are looking for the next big horse to bet their hatches on, so that they are appointed ministers and deputy ministers. And with Cyril Ramaphosa being at the departure lounge, he may as well be a liability to some of those who are within the African National Congress, because it does not guarantee them their future beyond 2027.
Samkele Maseko, when you are in the departures lounge, often you hope for a good seat and great snacks. For now, we'll let you go. Samkele Maseko reporting then on Bejani Chauke's statement today that Cyril Ramaphosa is not going to resign post the G20 Leaders Summit on the 22nd and the 23rd of November. By the way, full coverage right here on SABC News as the official broadcaster for that World Leaders Summit.